What's up? What's up today? So, wanted to give you guys a quick breakdown on CLOV. I'm talking about how I traded it and what I just did with it. So, if you're new here, Don with the DonFronShow. Again, I started this YouTube channel just making just random videos. People found out I just traded stocks for a living, so started answering questions using that. That's why I got the weird name, not Don Trades or anything. But if you were subscribed and we've been talking about this last week, I told you guys I got into CLOV last Friday. We got the crazy pop. We added on Monday, Tuesday rock and rolled. Got back in again yesterday, and so again tagged out, got back in, sold this morning. So here's how I trade. If I'm in a long position, I like the green candles. I skip the red ones. In my last video, someone called that a poor man strategy, using stop losses. But what I think is a poor strategy is not having a plan at all, buying and holding and just seeing what happens. So careful what you read in the comments. Not everybody does this for a living. However, my personal strategy is I trail things. I trail things for a reason because, again, I like to skip the red candle. So on days like this, I get to lock in those profits. I get to talk about how I sold at the top, well, close to the top. And then when it gets back, I get to get back in, essentially skipping all of it. So if you're in, you rode it up, you rode it back down, you still have the same position, nothing's changed. There's two popular ways inside my mentorship to do this. Some people actually just scale out on the way up. So they got their position as it goes up, they take a chunk out, take a chunk out, take a chunk out, and they'll essentially do the same thing. They'll buy back on the dips. Where I will ride the whole position up, I like to bag hold my winners. I'll set trailing stops. Well, I set stop loss orders and I manually scoot them up. And so when they tag, I like to get back in. Now, CLOV tagged out this morning, dropped all the way down, and bounced out of this zone. But I just now got back in. We saw some momentum. Now, everything about this, whether you're in CLOV, we talked about this in my last video. I don't care if it's fundamentals or technicals really set this one up. Fundamentals didn't bring on this spike at all. So it's time to play it at what's at hand. And still, I think everything still stands. It is shorts piled on. If anything, they added on more today, just salivating, seeing how high this looks like a pump and dump. So pump, dump. So if they were already red short, they might have doubled down. They could have locked in the short position and got back in. However, heavily shorted stock, pretty low float, mostly institutionally owned. So those guys aren't trying to play the in and out game. They're buying and holding, essentially making that float much smaller. So if Wall Street Bets is going to attack this, those are your buyers. The people that are trying to just get that pump, that life-changing money. Some people are YOLOing, and that's causing a gamma squeeze because everybody's buying in options. Market makers then need to buy shares to hedge your bet. And then there's essentially just shorts stopping out, which is further buy-side activity. So none of that changes. It sold off today, and again, we still have the setup for either a continuation, a continuation of both sides, actually. I talked about last night, there's going to be a big move up or down. Now, this one gapped up. It came right back down. Now, in a pump and dump, this is the dump. But we see a lot of times, I think it even happened with GameStop. We'll check that one out here in a second. I'll show you some examples. We get this first initial pullback. Right, it's quick, it's drastic, but then people buy in, it pumps it right back up, and then we're right back here again. And then that's the battle line. Does it get above, or do we reject or make a lower high? If we were to make a lower high, I think the party's over. It's probably coming back down to a more realistic price. Again, I don't care where you base this company at. There's a lot of people talking about fundamentals on this. I don't care where you put that at. Right now, before this happened, it was a $9 stock. So worry about that once this particular move. This phase of this ticker right now is in momentum territory. So I say that not a lot so you get you guys to focus on that. Momentum territory, we got momentum plays. Your mindset needs to be momentum. What is a momentum move going forward? We saw GME, and I want to say we saw this exact move. Not really. You can call that the sell-off. It ended up going higher the next day. Completely sold off, right back up, did not make it, came right back down. So when I say if we pump, if this is our first, if this is CLOV today, we get that pump up tomorrow and it does not hang, essentially makes that lower high, I bet this is the move that follows suit. You know, we end up today and we gap up and go. I mean, I think that the train's just still rolling. It's a multi-day runner. Just to cover it again, I'm surprised GameStop's even back up here. This is why you don't want to bag. This is the worst example because you don't want to bag hold up here. This one, it rewarded your stupid behavior or silly, whatever you want to call that. It's a bad habit to have of bag holding. You made a plan, you got your entry, and you were looking to the stars, and you just did not look out below for what could be happening. And then the red came that you couldn't even fathom, and so you just bag held. You know, you didn't really have a plan. That's a terrible thing to do in the stock market. I'm trying to think what other ones. Workhorse is actually doing all right today. I'm trying to think of any other crazy pumps we saw. Did AMC do it? Kind of like here and here again. So, do you see the characteristics? This jumped up to 20 bucks. This is the GameStop debacle. Came back down, pumped back up, lower high, came back down. Pushed up, came back down, pumped back up, lower high. And some of you guys might try to fight me and say, diamond hands, this one's going to the moon. And I'm not going to argue with anybody. I just want to show examples for what could be happening in CLOV and give you guys an update that I did just get back in. Personally, I want to see it. We're kind of basing out right here. So, you know, we had our morning. We gapped up. We started to sell off, came back down. The past few hours have been just inside this 1 hour candle. So I'm interested right now on the break above or below that, and that's kind of how I'll manage my risk right now. So I am in, I think I grabbed I'll tell you the calls I grabbed right now. I do have some shares, and let me get it to load. I have a $19 call, so I grabbed one right at the money. I didn't know if it was 19 or 18. So I'm at a $19 call. Right now it costs $3.45 per contract. So my risk on that is if it goes to zero, it goes to zero. Tomorrow I'll manage it. As soon as we get and close outside of this area, that's how I'll manage my risk going forward. We get above it, you guessed it, I'll start trailing. Hopefully get a nice little gap up. Hopefully the Vega just goes even higher, and then I just get to make more. But quick little update. That's where I'm in. That's what I'm watching. Aside from that, this is the meme stock that I'm in today. If you guys want to check out some other plays, I was in the Mentorship, so I grabbed SPY calls. I did take a position on Snap. Snap popped up. I've already day traded that and getting back in. Options spiked up, so I tagged out when the premium pulled back and got back in. That we're probably adding that one to the Mentorship account actually. Added some Apple and Facebook, and that I believe is it. I sold some premium on Google. I couldn't help myself there. Hopefully Google. You're probably only here for CLOV, but hopefully it has a little pullback tomorrow, and I'll just collect a few $100 for nothing. So right now, long story short on CLOV, you got the pullback. Right now, we're going to make that decision when it leaves this zone. Was this a pump and dump? Is this a bull flag or a bear trap? You know, unfortunately, time will tell. How you can just make sure you're on the right side regardless is just have a proper way to trade. This thing gaps to $6 tomorrow, I'm still fine. Or if it gaps up to $36, I'm a little bit better than fine. But I would expect either one of those moves. So I'll leave that, guys, here. I am going live later tonight after hours, so we'll break that down and see how this panned out. We'll talk about the markets. So make sure you're subscribed. Hit that like button for me, and I will see you guys later tonight for the midweek breakdown.